Yesterday, there was one Mata, and she almost had tears in her eyes, and she was asking me, Didi, we are in Gyan and all, but there is so much sorrow in the world. And she said, I met two women in a gap of 6 hours. So I was looking for a house help. And then I saw this one lady who had come, and her husband's hand was lost in an accident. And this lady had 3 children to feed and no money at all. And then that husband had no treatment because there was no money. And then there was this another woman who came, and her husband, the roof fell. So there was some problem with the construction and the roof fell, and then the husband got buried underneath and he lost his life. And then she was a widow, and she also had 3 children to feed. And then there was no work, no money, nothing that she could do. And then I felt, what can we do to alleviate the pain of these people? So I said, what do you think you can do? So she said, I thought that I should, keep both of them as house helps and give them some job. And I said, okay. And then if you keep this offer open, you will every day meet 4 or 5 like that. And then what do? You keep everybody as a house help. How much money do you have? So then she said, no, that's not possible. So I said, that's okay. You keep one of them as your house help, and you do whatever you can, because again, you sometimes you feel emotional and then you will keep her. But then if she doesn't do good work, will you still tolerate that and pay her? Will you have the patience to, pay her and teach her and, make her learn? And she's needy, maybe she'll learn also. But do you have that kind of patience and tolerance, or do you want to sit on your sofa and just tell her, clean this, clean that, and if she doesn't do that, then you will get annoyed about it. And then you will say she's in so much need and still she doesn't understand that she's to do good work. So do you have that kind of patience and tolerance? So she said, but Didi, we are keeping them for work, right? So work has to be good. So I said, that's what, you cannot do anything about the sorrow of this world if you don't have enough treasures within yourself. If you don't have patience, if you don't have tolerance, you might feel emotional for somebody, but then can you even help that one person? Because sometimes you think that I am helping this person out of goodwill, but there is always selfish interest, and then that selfish interest will come in the way. So then I told her, you asked me a question that how do you solve the problems of this world? Through yoga. And if you remember Baba says that the only way to change this world of sorrow and take everybody home, take every soul back home, or create a world of heaven, is through yoga power. So then I asked her, how many hours of yoga are you having? Then she said, these days, for the last 3 days, I've not had any yoga because there's no house help. So I'm just looking for house helps. So I said, just think about it. The only method that can help everybody, you have kept that method aside, and now you're hankering after things that are very temporary. And sorrow is sorrow is a very interesting subject. It's not that just people who are, have physical health problems or financial problems, or people who have, relationship issues, they have sorrow. Sorrow is a ubiquitous phenomena. So it's everywhere. And sorrow has its root in body consciousness. And anybody who is body conscious, whether rich or poor, whether healthy or unhealthy, whether good relationships, not so good relationships, everybody is and can be in sorrow. So Baba says, sorrow, I remember I have told this in class very often. There was one brother, he came in a Mercedes to the center, and then he said, I am very much in sorrow because whatever I thought in life couldn't be achieved. So I said, what did you plan? So he said, I just one little thing I wanted, to have a private helipad and a charter plane of my own. And that didn't happen. So, but I said, but you're driving a Mercedes. So he said, that's nothing. I just wanted that one little thing. And that didn't happen. And he was almost in tears. And then I told him, okay, I may not understand your sorrow, but anyways, now that you're saying you're in so much sorrow, I will tell you whatever Baba gives the solution as. So you see, sorrow is very individual. You cannot say this person's sorrow is greater than this person's sorrow, because you think, this is a valid reason for sorrow and this is not a valid reason for sorrow. Because sorrow is what you feel, and if you're feeling it, it's sorrow. So that is what Baba tells us, that everybody in the world is sorrowful today, and sorrow has its root in body consciousness and vices. So if there's greed, there is desire, then until that desire is fulfilled, you have the sorrow for that unfulfilled desire, and when it is fulfilled, you might have the sorrow for that fulfilled desire also or some other unfulfilled desire. Do you get that? So, sometimes people say, I want to get married, and then they're sorrowful about that. And then when they get married, they're sorrowful. Why did they get married to this person? And then they have sorrow about other things. Why am I not able to get a divorce? And then I remember there was this one brother, and he told me he got married, and then after 6 months he started looking for a divorce, but he had already registered the marriage, and he couldn't get a divorce until the next 3 years. And he said that the biggest pain in my life, earlier the pain was, why am I not getting married? And then the pain was, when will I get the divorce? So you see that same thing can become a cause of sorrow, and or you will look for something else. If this is done and dusted, then something else. So Baba says that sorrow is there in the whole world, and then today Baba talks about not the things that we are talking about, but about wars, about floods, about famines, and just look at the state of the world today. Yes, and there is, the Baba says, if you make a list, you can note down countless forms of sorrow today. Yes, how much sorrow there is in the world, you cannot even think about. So there is sorrow about people losing, physical health, just like I told, that person died, or there was an arm lost, or this thing, or something that, is not even about physical organs, some disease, some illness, old age, so painful old age these days. You see, people are losing all their dignity and all their grace and all their, all their respect in old age. And if you see that, that's very painful to see. And then there are other forms of sorrow, financial, legal, people have all the money, but they are caught up in some legal issue, and then they are fighting it. Then there are relationship issues, and then there is this whole wild world where there are wars and famines and earthquakes, which somebody who has not experienced cannot even think about. Yes, so and the interesting thing is, when we think about sorrow, we always think about individual sorrow. But Baba says, just open your third eye and look at the world of sorrow we are living in. And when you look at that, then you understand that why Baba has come. And Baba has not come for, if you look at it, Baba has come for us, but we are not the most sorrowful. We are pretty well off that way, right? So we have good buddhi. I think that's the biggest asset we have. We have good buddhi, and most of the things are fine. So 90% is all good if you calculate it. But why has Baba come to us? Because Baba knows that those who are in tremendous sorrow cannot help themselves. So these children that are my children, that are deity souls, they will remove the sorrow of the whole world, and they will take every sorrowful soul back home. So Baba comes to us, teaches us, because Baba knows that we are the angel souls, the deity souls, who become the right hand of Baba every kalpa. And Baba knows that, people who are too much in sorrow, they cannot become Baba's right hand, can they? They are so confused and absorbed in their own issues that, they need help. But who is going to help them? We, Baba's children. And what is the help like? So Baba says the only way to change the world is through yoga power. So Baba says, now you have to leave all attachments, and while living in the body, while carrying out your responsibilities, just keep considering yourself to be a soul and remember Baba. And with this yoga power, the world will change. And when there is yoga power, of course, there will be seva also, because then we will try to serve through our body, mind, wealth, and then do whatever physical seva we can. But also with yoga power, will create the vibrations that will help everybody at the vibrational level. Yes, and I think, I have felt that whenever a soul comes to the place in which a Brahmin lives, then they receive that which they had been looking for. Peace, joy, contentment, power, just by being in that environment. And Baba says we have to create these spaces, these oases in this desert of sorrow, where every BK lives. There has to be this atmosphere where anybody who comes, they feel sustained, they feel recharged, and they also receive some in the form of, knowledge and words. They receive some prasad also from Baba. And Baba says that this is the seva that we have to do. We have to be in yoga and create atmospheres. Do you know that when Janki Dadiji was first directed by Bab Dada to go and serve in London, so when Dadi was instructed that now you go and serve in London, then what Dadi said? Dadi said, oh, but I don't know the language. I don't know English. How will I go and serve in London? So what Bab Dada did? They were sitting in a room, and Baba looked around the whole room like this, and then he said, you have to create this there. This vibration you have to create there. So the same vibration that is there in this room, you just go and create in London, and then the seva will happen. And when the first place was taken on rent in London, that was, some 2-3 floors up, and it was a very tiny place, and it was in a very shabby locality. And then from there the seva started, and people used to climb 2-3 flight of stairs and go there and take knowledge. Why? Because that space was created with yoga power. There are many times, people say people don't climb up when there's a center upstairs, but then you have to pull them with your yoga power. If you have that yoga power, then they will climb 7 steps also, 7 stair sets also, and they'll reach there. So that's how seva started. And Baba says that all the seva that happens, or how souls receive love, peace, purity from Baba, and until and unless souls receive that, they cannot have the strength to do purusharth. Even the most sorrowful soul can do purusharth, but first they need some peace. First they need some Shakti. First they need some, support in the form of spiritual sustenance. And when you can give that through yoga power, through that vibration you create, then that soul will also do Purusharth, because ultimately you cannot take anybody to, Mukti, Jivan Mukti. They will do their Purusharth. But how do you, build that foundation? That is through yoga power. And then Baba says there are many souls who will not come and study and take knowledge, but they will take peace which you create through yoga power. So Baba says that this is the way to transform the world. And I don't know whether you have thought about it so much that you get it, because sometimes, you still think that, doing something physical, concrete, and, like helping a person financially, physically, that is the way to change the world. But Baba says that is not the way to change the world, and the world will not change like that. It's only through yoga power, and what you have to give up for yoga power is much more than what you give up when you do these petty, helps. So Baba says just remove all your attachment, because you cannot consider yourself to be a soul when you are attached. So Baba says you have to practice to detach from the body, detach from all the I and mind that you're carrying, and just remember Baba. Walking, talking, sitting, eating, be in Baba's remembrance, and then do whatever Baba gives you the inspiration and direction for you to do. And when you keep doing that, then you are becoming that right hand in Baba's seva as you have always been. So through yoga power, we change the world from hell to heaven, and Baba comes and teaches us yoga power. And Baba today gives us a very important understanding that you need a teacher for everything. Yes, so you see that an engineer was meant to be an engineer. But can he be an engineer without a teacher? No. But it is completely possible then that 10 people have the same teacher, but only 2 of them become good engineers. Yes, because those 2 are destined to become that. But even with your destiny on your side, only when a teacher teaches you, that memory inside you, or that acumen, or that skill inside you is triggered. Yes, so this is the interesting spiritual law that Baba is telling us about. And Baba says that you need a teacher for everything. And the other day we were having a discussion about Satyug, and somebody was asking us that in Satyug, will somebody start making machines on their own, or machines like the Pushpak Viman and other things on their own, or they will start making art on their own. So then Bhai was telling them that no, they would all go to school. So then they said, why would they go to school? They are deities, they know everything. So then he was just saying that yes, they know everything, but you need a teacher to bring that out. And it will not be a teaching like 4-year course or something. It'll be a very short course, one lesson, and then they'll get it and then they'll start doing it. But it's not like they'll start doing it on their own. Skills and other stuff will have to be learnt. It will take a very short time to learn, but there will be a teacher in Satyug also. Baba doesn't ever say that there will be no teacher in Satyug. Baba says in Satyug there will be a father, there will be a teacher, there will be no guru. Because you don't need Mukti, Jivan Mukti, but you will need a teacher in Satyug also to bring out that which is there in you. Similarly, Baba says that I am the teacher and I teach you the yoga that I teach you every 5,000 years, and those who have that memory or that recording in them that we learn this yoga and we remember Baba every 5,000 years, they will learn it. Yes, so we are the pre-programmed souls, but although we are pre-programmed, only when Baba comes and teaches, we will start doing yoga. And those who are not pre-programmed will not learn it anyway. So Baba says that this is why when I come, only then you start doing this yoga that I teach you. And you see that Baba has told us this very important thing, that change can only be permanent when that change is at the consciousness level. Any change that you bring about, you listen to an idea, yes, and then you change. But if that idea has not become a part of your consciousness, if you're not thought deeply about that idea and that idea has not become a part of your awareness or your consciousness, then the change coming from that idea will be temporary. Yes, and Baba says, you may become polite for some time, helpful for some time, peaceful for some time, happy for some time. But if your consciousness is, I am a vicious soul. If your consciousness is, I'm not a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful soul. You have not come to that consciousness that this is my basic nature, this is my Baba, and my Baba is always giving me the sustenance of virtues and powers. If you have not come to that consciousness, that then anything you do, maybe good acts also, it's not that people don't perform good acts. They perform good acts under some influence, through some motivation, but that will be very temporary. Again you'll keep going back to being vicious. So that's why Baba says that the only way to change the world is by changing your consciousness first. So thinking deeply about the fact that you are a soul, that you belong to the soul world, that your father is the ocean of virtues and peace, and then having yoga with Baba, only that can be permanent, and that can bring about permanent change in your actions. Because until and unless your consciousness has not changed to I am the child of the bestower or I am the divine soul, then how can you keep giving all the time? You will give for some time and then you will become a beggar. So, and this whole world change doesn't require beggars, it requires constant givers. And how can you be constantly giving until you have yoga with the one who is constantly a giver? So only Baba is the supreme bestower, and when you have yoga with the supreme bestower, only then can you be a constant giver. And you see, in my personal experience, when I came to Gyan, I always thought that, when you do good, people appreciate you. But when I came to Gyan, I understood that it's the complete opposite. Nobody likes you when you do good. Nobody likes you. And everybody is after you. You stop doing this. So whether it's the Lokik family, the world, the colleagues. So, everybody has a problem with you becoming pure and you doing seva. And then, and after time, maybe some people of the Alokik family also will turn against you. But then you have to understand that this is how it is, and you need to just have yoga with Baba. Because if you have any trace of body consciousness, then what will happen is you will stop having yoga with Baba, and you will have only yoga with those who are causing obstacles, and then you will not be able to do the seva that Baba is telling you. Even on the mansa level, that's the biggest level of seva, keeping your mind pure. You can't do that if you have not forgotten all attachment from this old world. So Baba says, just practice this, change your whole sense of identity, belongingness. I am a soul, I belong to Baba, and my Baba is the one I have constant yoga with. And when you have this, then you can be an instrument to change the world. And if you have any attachment to, even if you have attachment to reputation, because most people have a lot of attachment to their reputation. If you have, but reputation is an aspect of the old world. Do you understand that? Reputation is not an aspect of the soul. Reputation is an aspect of the old world. But if you have attachment to that, then once that is attacked, then you will have yoga with your reputation and not yoga with Baba, and then you will start doing everything wrong. So Baba, that is why says that the only way to change the world is by having yoga with Baba. And only when you have constant yoga with Baba, you can perform constant benevolent actions. And you are that soul who does it every cycle, but you need a teacher to bring you back to that awareness every cycle. So this is something. And then Baba today says that we children are now preparing to go back home and preparing to come back to the new world, right? So do you see yourself going back home? And so Baba says, I teach you many methods to remember me. And if you think that only always you will think you are a point of light, Baba is a point of light, and remember Baba, becomes very difficult, very monotonous. So Baba says, in everything you need variety. So I teach you many ways, many methods with which you remember me. So sometimes you remember me as the Father. Yes. And when you remember the Father, you remember the inheritance. You remember what Baba is giving you. Baba is creating a world of heaven for you. And then you have gratitude for Baba. And then you remember Baba. Because when you feel somebody is giving you so much, you remember Baba. And then when you remember the teacher, that Baba has taught you so much that now your mind is clear of all confusion and full of clarity, then with that gratitude, you remember Baba, because Baba is the one who taught you so much. Or you remember Baba as the Satguru. You remember that, this is a world of sorrow and the Baba is taking you back. So the Satguru is taking you home. And then you remember Baba like the Satguru. And always it's not easy to start with soul consciousness, but once in a while you could also start with remembering Baba and then become soul conscious. So I adopt this method, like when my mind is full of a lot of things and tasks and other stuff and there's seva going on. then what I do is I remember Baba, that Baba is sitting in the soul world and calling out to me. And then it's time to go back from all this chaos to that world of peace. And then that pulls me into that awareness that I'm just a soul and I fly and sit with Baba. So you can remember Baba in many relationships. Sometimes when you just need comfort, when you can remember Baba as your mother. And what does mother do? Unconditionally accept. And Baba says, I accept you unconditionally. So sometimes when you are not in the mood for a lot of exercise of the mind, you could just remember Baba like your mother. And Baba is the only one who accepts you as you are. And Baba knows why you are the way you are, because Baba knows your whole journey. Even Lokik parents, they become confused why their children are the way they are. Because they don't know their whole journey. So they think, I'm like this, why is my child like this? But Baba knows your whole journey. So Baba accepts you as you are. So you could just take solace in Baba's lap, or you could remember Baba as a friend. And when you remember Baba as a friend, then you could bear your heart out to Baba without thinking of any judgment. And then Baba will also guide you in the right way. Yes, and I remember there was this one time when I bared my heart to Baba about, about my feelings for, I was having some, negative feelings about somebody, that this person is doing wrong or this or that. And then what Baba did? I saw this scene where I was sitting this side and that other soul was sitting this side, and Baba was giving love to both of them. And then I thought, okay, so I'm just complaining about his child to him, and that doesn't make any sense. So I stopped. So you see that Baba will listen to everything and then also give you some inspiration about how to come out of it. So Baba is not like that friend who will listen to everything and misguide you. Most friends do that. But then Baba is the, not because they want to, but because that's the only thing they know, misguiding others. But Baba is the one who will also guide you after you bare your heart to him. And Baba says, you can remember me in many relationships. And then when you remember the time, then also you remember Baba. So when you remember this is Sangam Yug and it's the time to go back, then you remember the one who is taking you back. Or you can remember Baba in many forms. Sometimes as the ocean of peace, sometimes as the ocean of love, sometimes as the purifier. Just sit there and see the rays from Baba washing over you and cleaning you. So Baba says, remember me in many ways, many forms, and you can start with remembering your new world and then remember the creator of the new world. You will start with remembering your home, and then you can remember Baba as the one who takes you back home. Or you can start with remembering Baba and then remember where he is taking you. So there are many methods you could apply, but Baba says the crux is you remember me. So Baba says, I give you so many yuktis, but still if you don't remember me, then what would be understood is that you are under the trap of Maya. So and I don't think that remembering Baba needs anything other than, just being free from Maya. Because remembering Baba doesn't need you to leave your work or leave what you're doing. You can do everything, be everywhere, and just remember Baba. But only when Maya tricks you, then you don't remember Baba. So this is also what Baba says. So Baba says that A, you change the world through yoga power. B, you need a teacher to teach you yoga every cycle. And then Baba says that I give you so many methods to remember me, and remembering me is the only way to change yourself, change the world. So pay attention to that. Om Shanti.